It was the beginning of August 2003, and we were driving into a little tiny town called Lewis Creek. And I was there doing stories about the McClure Barrier Fire. And this fire was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I mean, you know, I've covered fires before, but this was, it was like what I'd imagine a place would look like after a war. First of all, it's just eerie, it's so quiet. And everything's dark. And what used to be trees are just these little sticks just scattered around the ground. Some of them still standing up, but just black sticks. And the ground was charred, ash everywhere. And you're driving through what used to be communities, but now they're just husks of what they used to be. And in the middle of it all, we stumbled upon this couple, Cecil and Barbara Hay. When we saw them, they were just standing there. You know, my first thought was, what are they doing? We're just standing in the middle of, you know, a bunch of black stuff. And we walked up. The stuff was what used to be their home. They were standing there and they just looked so lost. You know, this had just happened, and they were just surveying the damage and didn't know what to do. Barbara told us a story about how her wedding ring was lost in the fire. They lost photos. They lost all those little things. You know, things, not things that matter as much as your life, but just all the little things that if you thought about losing, it would break your heart. And here they were, you know, a couple that had lived in Lewis Creek for 40 years. And here they were with nothing. As we were talking to Cecil, you know, you could see the emotion building up in him. And he just kept saying, where do we go from here? What do we do? What's next? There were a lot of stories like that that came out of that forest fire season of 2003. We talked to people in Kelowna. The fires raged through there just a couple of weeks later. You just talk to people who, one minute they had a home, they had all their favorite things, their photo albums, their memories, and in the blink of an eye it was all gone. It struck me just how powerful the weather can be, just how powerful fire is. It's unforgiving and destroys. And I still think about Cecil and Barbara today, and in fact we went back to visit them just a couple of years ago, and they left Lewis Creek and they started a new life. They both still say that not a day goes by they don't think about the life they used to have and what they lost in that horrible fire season of 2003. It was one of the worst fire seasons in the last 50 years for the province. And, you know, though I feel honored that these people let us into their lives and let us tell their stories, it stays with you, and a little piece of your heart breaks every time you hear a story about somebody whose life was completely changed and destroyed by the power of the weather.